boys and girls, welcome to my channel, I'm for Classic and welcome to BenchART. So for today what I do have needed is Mafia 2 Definitive Edition, ports or a remaster, let's call it this way, developed by the D3T, where the main game was developed by the 2K exec, which ended up being merged into MBoard 13. So the old developers from Mafia 1 and Mafia 2 were merged into MBoard 13. Of course, there were people that did left and created other different games, but that's another story. So today we are here to test the HD 7850, my old graphic card. It is an 8-year-old graphic card. And the first thing that you should do as soon as you get inside the graphics menu on this game, it is to just enable the low presets. It doesn't mean that you are going to use the low settings. What I'm saying is that you should go and immediately toggle the low settings, exit the game and get in again, because this game have an NVIDIA Apex/PhysX option not visible, but still it is there. And when you use the low preset, what it does, it disables physics, and that's one of the things that you should do if you don't have an NVIDIA graphic card. But after that you can select whatever the graphics that you want, but my personal suggestion, it is just to go with medium settings. There is two big killer settings in here. It is the HBO Plus, as you saw, it consumed a ton of frames, and obviously MSAA, which even if you enable only 2 times MSAA, it has a large impact in performance. So don't use MSAA and don't use HBAO if you want to have an awesome frame rate, but all the rest you can max out with no issues whatsoever. So the minimum requirements, these guys ask for an HD 7870, which is more powerful than the graphic card we have in here, and they also specify that you need an FX CPU. Although, using the low settings, I was pretty much able to have 60 frames per second most of the time. So the minimums, it was 58 and the average was 79, alright? But I do think that the median settings are much better in some regards, alright? So the average it is 67 and the 1% low it was 48. So the experience will be overall, you know, above 50 frames per second. And these 48 frames there, it was only crossing the tunnel from the main city to outside, to the outskirts of the city. And that scene, it is very demanding, because most of the gameplay for you, it will be pretty much between the 55 frames per second to something higher. So I think it is pretty good for a remaster. If you go with the high settings, the experience that you can expect, it is mostly just an experience above 30 frames per second. But I do think that a little bit more forward into the game, in more demanding moments, you might be having some drops lower than 30s. So in my opinion, I think you should stick with the median settings, disable HBAO, and don't use any MSAA. All the rest, even the shadow detail and geometry quality, if you want, you can use the eye, but just don't enable HBAO, because it is very, very performance hungry. Alright, that's what you should know about the performance. And again, don't forget, first things first, it is to enable the low presets, exit the game, re-enter the game, and only then you start to choose your custom preset. But don't mess around again with the presets, because for example, if you enable the median presets or the high presets, the game will enable NVIDIA PhysX again. So by the time of this video, what I know so far is that MBoard 13 already pronounced about these issues and the lack of NVIDIA PhysX options on the graphics menu, as well as the other issues that this remaster have, and they say that they are going to fix. So if you are watching this video probably 2 months later or forward on the release of this video, probably they already have fixed some of the issues, the lack of the options. There are some issues with the game. For me, the most weird one, it was the Leo Galante. It is one of the characters that you are going to meet later into the game. His eyes are not animated and are always looking to the side during the cutscenes. It is quite distracting. Alright, there is also some bugs with smokes and particles, for example. In this game it flickers a lot, so if you lock the frame rate, for example, to 60 frames per second, that issue stops. You just need to use the VSync. Don't use the VSync of the game, use any other VSync that you can from the AMD control panel or anything like it, and lock the frame rate to 60. If you do that, the smoke flickering will go away. Alright, that's one of the issues that eventually it will get fixed. And there are some issues with physics, but again, you have an AMD graphic card in here. The only thing that you want to care about physics, it is disable it, alright? That's exactly what you should immediately do. Although, in any case, if you want to use physics, I don't have an issue with that. Because this game, actually, I discovered later, the physics, it is not running through GPU, even if you have an NVIDIA graphic card. I have one video on another channel of mine which proves that. So if you want to use physics, go ahead, alright? But there are some sequences in the game, the later levels, where you have access to grenades and big machine guns, and if you start to spray those machine guns and those grenades all over the place, all over the scenario, you can expect the frame rate to drop severely. And when I say severely, I'm saying to something even lower than 30 frames per second. Even on my Ryzen 5 3600X, if I start to do that, the frame rate starts to drop really a lot. I'm not sure if this is an issue for them, but that's actually what it is happening at the moment. Even if you have an NVIDIA graphic card, physics is running through CPU. Alright? I'm not sure if they are going to change that and enable NVIDIA hardware acceleration, but NVIDIA physics, it is a decision to you. But if you have something worse than this Ryzen, alright, I really don't recommend you to enable physics, because like I did told you, at the end levels, it's going to be very demanding, and the CPU won't really provide enough performance for you to sustain a good experience. Alright, that's what I did found out. Alright, so yeah, there are many people pissed off with this remaster, and I honestly do understand, because since this is a remaster, people are expecting it to be perfect, and I fully understand that. But there are a ton of issues with the game, like I did told you, the way of Gavanti, the physics stories, and some flickerings. I had one crash throughout the entire game, so I don't think it is really bad. But the most thing that people are concerned with this remaster, it is the performance. They say that the performance is much worse than the original. Yes, it is worse than the original, but there are a lot of revamps in here that people fail to realize. The textures on the ground, I mean, these snow textures are really good. It is full of parallax occlusion mapping. Some walls and a ton of textures were completely redrawn from ground up. The environmental textures really did change a lot. Character faces did change. There are some things that I didn't enjoy. For example, they changed the eye color of Vito and some other characters. I don't understand who the hell does that. That doesn't make any sense. But they really redraw many faces. Some are better, some other are worse, you know. But overall, the remaster, it is pretty good. The effect that I've noticed at first is that when I started this game, what I've noticed it was that this remaster didn't change too much stuff, but then I installed the original game, and I started to notice a lot of differences in textures, essentially textures mostly, and that was huge. They really redraw many stuff. Still, Saints Row the Third, it is a much better remaster than this game, but I'm not really sure. I think that these Mafia developers did change a lot of stuff, but tried to maintain the original feeling of the game, while Saints Row the Third changed pretty much everything, including the look and feel of the game, while Mafia 2 still looks pretty much exactly the same game, but with textures and faces revamped. Alright, so guys, I think that's all that I want to talk about Mafia 2 on the HD 7850. As you can see, it performs really great still. Hope you keep enjoying the rest of the video, and I do hope to see you soon. Goodbye.
I'm exhausted. We should take the highway, Vito. right. You pulled off that job without fucking it up. Nice going.
Yeah, but I almost got my ass kicked. I didn't live through the war just to die in Sand Island.
Hey, that's all part of the deal, pal. Take it or leave it. Besides, it ain't like you're qualified for anything else.
I guess you're right.
Don't worry about it. It's all gonna be a piece of cake.
So, what's the story with Brewski?
Mike's a good guy to know. He's a little grouchy, but he's always got
In
his
pursuit of a speeding vehicle.
Deals with stolen cars mostly.
10-4.
Spent some time inside a while back. I heard he used to stick up gas stations back in the day.
You gonna make him pay the cleaning bill for your jacket?
Nah, I'll let that one slide. I do a lot of business with the guy. Plus, he's got one hell of a temper. One time we was at the track and some mitt spilled a beer on his wind ticket. Mike beat the shit out of him till he went blind in one eye. For a lousy $10. You believe that shit?
Sounds like kind of a scumbag.
Hey, you just gotta know how to handle these people.
Hey, is there a safe place to park around here? I don't want to leave this thing out in the street.
Yeah, that's why you're parking your car next to mine in the garage. The streets are full of criminals these days.
Yeah, the neighborhood ain't what it used to be, huh?
If you're hungry, there's some food in the refrigerator. You hungry, Vito? Take whatever you want from the fridge.